Super competitive racing, 30 car grids, almost guaranteed multiple splits every time, 15-minute sprint races, longer 30-minute races, beginner-friendly cars. The GT4 Challenge is the series you need to try on iRacing right now, and this race highlights package will show you exactly why. Right then, top split, GT4 Challenge fixed, 15-minute sprint race at Barcelona Short Circuit. We're in our McLaren and we've qualified in 18th out of 30 cars. As we go green, we've been given the jump just a little bit by the cars up ahead. We're going to be side by side into T1. By the looks of things, we've got a decent gap to Rachel Jimenez behind me here. Break on the 300 metre board because we're on the short circuit already. One car off to the left hand side, his race wrecked after just a few seconds, and another car off to the left hand side there. We're going to try and just hold it tight on cold tyres and cold brakes and on a very congested track, but it looks as if we've made up at least a couple of positions, even though we couldn't hold it around the outside of Juho Tihonen up ahead of us. Two cars wide up ahead. We're going to go to the racing line here. We're going to be on the outside of the hairpin. Always a fair bet that there'll be trouble here at some point on the opening lap, and two cars come together up ahead of us. We're going to take the wide line, take the off track to just guarantee that we don't make contact with anybody on our inside. That looked like a big accident in my rear view mirror. We'll take a look back at it shortly, but for now we have survived. Here then is Benjamin Hackison being spun around in a collision with Lucas Tailman off into the barrier. That will set him back hugely in this race. And then we've got the pink Porsche of Philip Martinez ping-ponging between Tianen and Waldock, gets into a spin, and then, oh my goodness me, lots of cars blindsided by that carnage behind me on the road. That's going to give me a little bit of space. We rejoin then just towards the end of lap 2, and we are putting on all sorts of pressure to Waldock and Tianen up ahead, but I've got Rachel Jimenez in the orange McLaren just behind me as well, so this is going to be a pretty tight battle, I think, for 15th, 14th and 13th position. You can see I'm in the draft of Waldock up ahead. He's going to go defensive. I'm going to stick to the outside line then. Can I be later on the brakes and hold it around the outside here? We are later into the braking zone, but he has got the much tighter line. He's able to hit the apex. I'm thinking about just sticking it down the inside into this left-hander. Very difficult to do unless you're essentially already alongside, so I think better of it. Fast forward onto the very next lap, we're still line astern, and still Rachel Jimenez behind is getting interested in this set of moves as well. We're onto the start-finish straight once more. It looks as if both myself and Waldock have got a decent run on Tianen up ahead, so we could be heading in 3 wide. Tianen goes defensive. Waldock follows him out there. I'm going to stick to the outside of the track again. I'm down the outside of both drivers, but again on the difficult outside line. Tianen forces me out wide. Waldock too is holding his line, but this time I am alongside. I'm going to hit the apex on the left-hand side. There's a bit of contact, but we're able to keep the car pointing in the right direction. More contact as Waldock squeezes his way past on the inside. Jimenez getting involved as well, nearly 3 wide through the rapid right-hander at the top of the hill, but we have to settle back into 15th position. Wow, what a bit of racing that was. We're still pressuring Waldock around the outside. We try the switchback, but he covers off the inside line very sensibly, blocks off my attempt to get past there. Here's a replay then of the second attempt to get past into T1. We're all the way around the outside, but you can see very difficult to hold that line. I just keep one tyre alongside the rear wheel of Waldock. That gives me a chance on the inside. He turns in. There's a bit of a collision. We then get a little bit more barging. Look at Jimenez in the orange McLaren. Thinks about sending it down the inside, but she just can't make that stick. And in the end, I have to get out the gas as well to let Waldock on past. We rejoin then about 4 minutes later in this race. We're still stuck behind Tianen and Waldock. Garbia's made a mistake, so now this is a 4-way battle once again. And look up ahead, we've got another driver, beleaguered. That's Hamilton Smith, recovering from an incident. It's going to be 3 wide down the start-finish straight. We've got the momentum on Hamilton Smith as well, so we're going to be around his outside. But look up ahead, Waldock has gotten past Tianen before we even got into the braking zone of T1. I'm going to try and squeeze my McLaren down into the apex, and look at that, we're side by side with Tianen going through the corner. He though is going to have the inside for the next line. We're on the outside this time, a big barge. We're off up onto the curb, but we're still side by side on the exit of the corner. and it looks like I've got better momentum. I have to hold a narrow line through this right-hander. That might compromise me on exit, but it looks like we've finally got the move done. That was genuinely heart in mouth. Kind of frightening, really, coming through that complex of corners. This is how Hamilton Smith ended up sliding off the track, causing all of this congestion down into T1. And you can see then we're on the inside of Tiernan in the Mercedes. He's going to then have the inside of the next line. Oh, I do give him a little bit of a squeeze. That contact was on me this time around, but thankfully we both survived it. And if you enjoyed that passage of action, remember to hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, get subscribed, because we've got so many fantastic racing videos like this one on the channel. We rejoin them with just a few minutes left of this race, and Hamilton Smith is trying to recover from that earlier incident, and he is putting all kinds of pressure on me towards the end of this lap. David Waldock and Florian Garbier have dropped me just a little bit. They're now a couple of seconds up the road, so it looks like Tiernan was really holding Waldock up. You can see that I was able to hold off Hamilton Smith through the final chicane. I've now got Christian Ortiga pressurising me from behind. He's managed to squeeze past Hamilton Smith. We're wide through the right-hander. There can only be a lap and a half left of this race, and I've got Ortiga on my outside now as we look to defend 13th position into the hairpin. I've got to keep this tight to the apex. It's 2x2 behind me as well. We're just able to hold Ortiga off then on the outside. That was really, really close. It looked as if he had the run on me then in his Mercedes. Try and keep the car nice and tight to the apex. I'm struggling now. I wonder if I've overheated my tyres. Look off to the left-hand side. That's Florian Garbier. He's made a mistake under braking, but for now, Christian Ortiga down my inside into the chicane. We're able to hold the inside line on exit. There's Garbier serving a slowdown penalty, so we've actually made up a position. We haven't lost one. We're up into 12th position. Wow, another phenomenal bit of racing here. On replay then, this is us defending down into the very tight left-hander. You can see it's 2x2 behind me as well between Alonso and Hamilton Smith. We just give Ortiga enough room on the outside. We're able to hold the position, and then down into the final chicane. Very tricky place to make a pass. Ortiga gives it a go, but we've got the inside line. We managed to avoid the curb and then get past Garbier, and then look behind me. What happens next? Well, I feared I was going to be under pressure on the very last lap of this race, but actually there's big contact behind as the three drivers, Alonso, Hamilton Smith and Ortiga, vying for position. They just come too close together, and that is Ortiga and Alonso essentially out of that battle. And as we rejoin the live action with just one corner to go, David Waldock 3.6 seconds up the road, but we are going to hold 12th position, and Hamilton Smith will come in 13th behind me. What a race that was. Fantastic, and it just goes to show you don't need to be fighting towards the front to have some fantastic racing action. Confirmation then of the final results. A really good finish for me, a positive bump to my iRating, and 98 championship points. If you've enjoyed this race, here's another on screen right now. More evidence that the GT4 Challenge is one of the best series on iRacing right now, and I'll see you on the next one.